Buenas noches, damas y caballeros. Stick with me. Stick with me tonight, and we're going to read some letters. We're going to take some text messages. We've got some commentary. I've got some thank yous that I have to deliver. And then later on, we'll open up the phones for calling. So it's going to be a fun night. Besides, it's a great day for America, isn't it? So I probably should say this is Toby Eunice for AGK Media, since that's the name of the channel. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So here's the order of things tonight. I've got a couple of announcements that I want to make, then including a thank you. And then I've got some emails that I'd like to read. And then I've got some text messages that I'd like to read. And then I'll go to the chat room. We'll open up the chat room, say hi to everybody. World famous gamer, do me a favor. I could not find a clip, a Star Wars theme clip anywhere that wasn't copyrighted. So if you have about a 7-second clip that you can send to me, I will give you your intro music, but I couldn't find anything. I want to cover that right away since I just saw you pop into the room. My partner, Shelly Carney, should be in just a little bit to handle moderation. So I want you to behave yourselves. She can be tough when she wants to be. And God, I had a great week. So last week, Shelly and I were on the East Coast and celebrated a wonderful 70th birthday with my 3 of my daughters, 2 of my son-in-laws, and a potential future son-in-law. My youngest daughter is the only one that's not, I shouldn't say the only one because that makes her sound different, is the one that chooses not yet to be married. She works for a company that requires a lot of travel on her part, and she loves the travel. As a matter of fact, for her birthday, she and her, he's not a fiance, but boyfriend, are headed for 2 weeks in Europe, starting with Spain and then France. So, and she kind of prefers that life. Kids don't let you have that kind of life. There's Shelly Carney. Say hi to Shelly Carney. She is in as the softer side, and she is indeed. Okay, so where do I want to start? So first of all, I want to say thank you to all of those, all of you who contributed to the GoFundMe campaign that I set up for Jason and Rolene. It did very well. It helped them through this period. It is very frustrating to me when I hear senior officials in the federal government say stupid things like they don't understand why they just don't go to the bank and get a loan, or I got a comment from someone that said if you don't have 12 months savings, 12 months worth of income savings, you don't deserve to have a mortgage. Those are people that live in a completely different world from the rest of us. And so it's very frustrating for me to hear them say that, because I know a lot of federal employees. I have a lot of friends still in Washington who are, suffering, who are worried about whether or not they're going to make their mortgage payment. And you can't go to a bank and say, hey, as Wilbur Ross suggested, Department of Commerce, the head of the Secretary of Commerce, suggested that just go to the bank and let them know that you're being backed by the federal government. That's so not real world. I don't know where these people come from. So 40% of American families basically live from paycheck to paycheck. They have no sense of that. They don't understand that. They're in that 0.1% that has no concept of a paycheck. They just have cash rolling in from all kinds of directions. So it was very good today to see that a compromise of sorts had been reached, and that the government is going to reopen, and those 800,000 federal employees are going to go back to work. And hopefully get the back pay that's owed to them so that they can cover. But for those of you that contributed to that GoFundMe campaign, I basically turned it over to Rolene, and she did the right thing, making sure that her family was protected. And I had many conversations with her. And, when for any of you that ever have lost a job, whether it is through furlough or whatever, and you have a family, your first reaction is, how do I take care of my family? And eventually, if it lasts long enough, you start losing confidence in yourself. So it can be a terrible situation to be in. And I want you to know the contributions that you all made to that GoFundMe campaign really helped and really made a difference. And I think got them through this horrendous period. They literally had no idea how they were going to pay their mortgage payment because their bank wasn't about, their bank didn't say, okay, you could miss a couple of mortgage payments, as most banks are wont to do. So it was a real big help, and it helped them get through this period. And I talked to her again today, and the reason I talked to her again today is because one of the local stations contacted GoFundMe and asked for my contact information and wanted to interview me. So I'm going to interview with them on Sunday. She can't. She's a government employee. She can't even mention. I can't even mention the agency that she works with or what she does, because then you fall into that area where it might be against the law. So they've asked me if I want to come and talk, and I'm going to go do an interview on Sunday with local KOAT Channel 7, and I guess that'll appear sometime on Monday or Tuesday. I wondered whether they still wanted to do the interview, as this thing was kind of coming to a culmination, but the pain is still out there, and I think that's what they want to know about. So that was very good. And then for those of you that are in Las Vegas, I'm sorry I couldn't make it. I really wanted to be there, and I honestly hemmed and hawed and had conversations with Shelley, but we are in the midst of a tremendous amount of effort here, the effort of making sure Rolene and Jason survive this period. I don't know whether you guys picked up on a community comment that I made, but I made an offer on a house. The offer was accepted, and after 7 years in living in hotels and apartments, I decided to own a house again, as I had in the past. And so I'm right in the middle of that with paperwork. Loan's been approved. We have a closing date. But for those of you who have ever purchased a house, you know a lot of things can go bad. And I'm moving out of downtown and more in the direction north, what they call the north. That would be Northwest Heights. My son Jason lives in the Northeast Heights, so he won't be far from me. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then the other thing, as you already know, we're making a transition at Gypsy's Kiss to AGK Media, and we've already started receiving applications from folks that are interested in having their content on our channel. So we're busy with that. It just wouldn't have been an appropriate time for me to take off and go play in Las Vegas for a couple of days, although I love going and playing in Las Vegas for a couple of days, which, by the way, at my age, I can only tolerate 2 days at a time, 2 or 3 days at a time. Then I have to just get back, and be sane for a while. And I love poker. I especially love playing Texas Hold'em. So there's that. There's the thank you. So let me talk a little bit about AGK Media. So one of the things that you'll see scrolling down below me here is bit.ly/AGK Media. And that's a questionnaire, and that questionnaire is designed for anyone who's ever had an interest in live streaming onto YouTube and learning the ropes. And we've decided to enable AGK Media, what is now AGK Media, in a way that can help people do that. So if you and we're open to all kinds of ideas, whether they are Fenn related or not. And we're not going to exclude Fenn related content. As a matter of fact, we feel like the more Fenn related content on this channel, it kind of puts us in a direction. But we want to reach out to those people who have always thought about doing a channel but didn't have necessarily a comfort level with the technology or the expertise or being in front of the camera, all those issues that prevent you from doing that. So we thought, let's make it easy. Let's give them the opportunity to live stream to our channel. We'll handle all the production and technology work. They have to handle their schedule and the kind of content that they're delivering on the channel. But because we can simultaneously stream to their channel as well, it gives them the opportunity to build up content for their channel. And you've probably heard me say this 1,000 times, but if you want to build a YouTube channel with the intent of eventually monetizing it, you have to have a good content presented regularly. But before you can even monetize it, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and you have to have 4,000 hours of watch time in the previous 12 months. Well, people don't realize how difficult it is when you're setting up a channel to start getting that 4,000 hours. And they've done this since February 2017. So when Shelley and I hit the monetization point with 1,000 subscribers, we'd already achieved the 4,000 hours. So it wasn't a problem for us. But what you're going to find out if you're trying to build a channel is that getting 4,000 hours of watch time in a 12-month period with 20 or 60 or 120 or 400 subscribers is really, really hard. So this gives them the opportunity to find a place of comfort, start building content, get confident with themselves, get confident with their topic, start building a network of people who can be interviewed or join them on panels, while simultaneously putting that content, that very watchable content, onto their channel. And then what we're going to recommend to everybody is that in addition to doing the weekly or bi-weekly program or even monthly program that you're doing on AGK Media, to put other content on your old channel that doesn't require as much effort, cell phone recorded videos. And that way you start building your subscriber base on your own channel. And we're going to be around long enough so that you can get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time on your own channel, and then you can choose to transition to your own channel as it becomes monetizable. So it's a win-win for everybody. So the question everybody's asking is, what are you going to charge us? Because you guys know me. And the answer is we're not going to charge anything. And the reason is we'll continue to get advertising revenue from YouTube. So we don't have to charge these users. It is in our best interest to have as much content on this channel as possible. And we're starting to believe that it should be as diverse as possible. So we're going to cover the gamut. I can tell you that the range of applications that we've gotten so far have included people who are interested in talking about what's pseudoscience, not pseudoscience, but the possibility of aliens and things like that, kind of topics that you don't usually hear discussed, listen to, or see discussed on our channel. Hold on just a second. I have to make one update here so that I can make sure I can collect all this data. Just give me 1 second. So we expect that we'll have a broad variety of content creators on AGK Media. So the question, we've had some questions about it. If you're doing, the advice was, I responded to this, and I probably responded a little bit more harshly than I should have. But the advice was, no, in YouTube you do one thing and you do one thing well, and that's what gets you subscribers. That is not untrue, right? That's pretty accurate. But we are doing one thing and one thing well, and that is we're producing for other people. We're taking all the expertise that we've gained over the past couple of years and doing that because we feel like we do it pretty well, and we're allowing other people to do it well as well. So we're not only going to develop content providers, but we're going to develop producers like ourselves who can then build their own varied content channels. So as you learn what I do here as a content provider, you can actually go to the next level, put it all together yourself with our help, of course, and you can start building your own channel with your own set of content providers. So we're just talking about growing and expanding kind of our network, if you will. So the point I'm trying to make here ultimately is that as this stuff scrolls by on the screen below me, in the scroll bar below me, eventually you'll see the address bit.ly/AGK Media of the application form that you would have to fill out to be considered for building your own program. And again, we're looking for all kinds of people willing to develop content, whether it's Fenn related, and that's okay, or not, and that's okay. So like I said, we've got about, as of this afternoon, we had 10 applications, and there weren't any Fenn applications, interestingly. And there were no 2 applications that were in the same subject matter area. So that tells you what we're doing. So let me go in the room and say hi to everybody. I'm going to go back to the chat. So I've got to turn away from the camera over to my screen. So let me just go in there. Fenn Treasure Hunters, Hola. Jason and I talked this afternoon, so it's nice to see you in the room, Jason. No, Vegas, no, Sledneck. I explained why I was going to be there. Heather, we did get your voicemail, but I'm not sure what was wrong with your phone. We couldn't understand it. And I think Shelly was going to write you a text message or an email suggesting that, and then you could either write us back or leave another voicemail, okay? So, Alan K., good evening, sir. How are you doing? The Who's Your Sisters? Good evening, ladies. How are you doing? If you're both here, Tammy and Cindy. World Famous Gamer, World Famous WFG. See if you can get me. I'll make music for you, but I couldn't find a clip of the Star Wars theme that wasn't copyrighted. So, Jeremy Milstead's in the room. Journeyman's in the room. Journeyman, I didn't get your application, and I don't know whether that's my fault or you just decided not to proceed. So if you're still thinking about it, just let me know that you're still thinking about it, and I won't worry about it. Softer Side says she's here. She is. The Softer Side is always here. Let's see. Davio 22. My favorite X-Files fan. Eagle Hatchery. Hi, Brian. Oh, Brian Eagle. Brian, is that a new name? Yeah, Eagle Hatchery is a new name. Eagle's Hatchery. Brian Eagle from Austin, Texas. And he's in a sub-account. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Subscriber account. Okay. Let's see. Word. Derek McCullum, new name I haven't noticed. I noticed you were someplace I found on Google Earth that were very consistent to my search area. Pretty close. I can tell you that all our I can tell you our search areas. We searched the Lander, Wyoming area. We searched the Browns Canyon area in Colorado. We searched Cimarron State Park area in New Mexico. The Pilar on the Rio Grande recon several times before Fenn indicated not to waste our time with the Rio Grande. We searched the Rio Chama area, and our last search area before we decided to stop looking for the treasure was the Rio de los Pinos. I like it just because I get to say Rio de los Pinos. Let's see. Is Pooty in the room? I didn't see Pooty. Sledneck. Yeah, there was some movement on that, and don't worry about it. You don't have to apologize for that. Wilbur is suffering too. Etherman. Wilbur is suffering too. Forbes dropped him out of the billionaire list. Yeah, only 700 million. Yeah. I don't feel sorry for him. Gold Dog. What up, brother? Jody Krager. God, a lot of new names. Do we know if the person claims to have found the chest actually found it? Fat Boy? Are you calling me Fat Boy? That really hurt my feelings. So I haven't been called Fat Boy in a long time. No one. The chest remains unrecovered. That's just once you've been in the search long enough, you'll know that about once every, I'm going to say every 2 weeks on the average, someone will announce that A, they found the location of the chest, but they haven't had a chance to get there. B, they went to the location of the chest, but somebody had removed it. Or C, they have the chest, but they're going to hold it until it's safe for them to release the information. Once every 2 weeks at a minimum, sometimes more often than that. Let's see. Dave Erickson. Did I say hi, Dave Erickson? Tom K. Looks like a good time to buy a house in Albuquerque. Been thinking about making a move next couple of years. Maybe that's a place. Tom. So I guess I have to be honest. I have to be transparent. I'm actually moving out of Albuquerque because when I move up to the Northwest Heights, I will be in another town other than Albuquerque. But I'll be in the metro area, I guess is a good way to describe it. Won't be far from the Rio Grande. I'll be able to hike down to the Rio Grande. So, and Shelley won't have to drive for 35 minutes to get to my house anymore. So when we work together on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Let's see. I know where it's at. Up they're still there. Get there. What? Jody, why are you? What is Fat Boy? Because I'm starting to take it personally. Fat Boy. I'm not that fat. I'm pleasantly plump. time to buy. I think it's a real good time to buy. The rates were pretty low, a lot better than the last time I bought a house, actually. And I found I found a house. Let me put it this way. The house that I found is, it's not that old. It was built in 2010. And the payment that I'm going to have to make is less than the payment that I'm making here in this apartment complex. So that's why it was such an easy decision. Let's see. W, softer side. Heather Dawn. Heather Dawn, would you and Shelley talk to each other and see if we can get that ignorant strength is going to sleep on us? Oh, somebody sing him a lullaby. That's what we need. What is radial reading, and how do we do it? That's a mechanism for finding direction, determining direction on a compass. You read the radial. And if you go to YouTube and look up radial reading, you will find a very good video explaining it. Not by me, by the way. There's William. Yo, William. William, thank you very much for your contribution. I did get it. And thanks for that photo. That was a wonderful photo. Wonderfully funny photo of you. You look like you have a great sense of humor. We should meet sometime. Blue Mango from New Jersey. Journeyman. Oops, Journeyman still thinking. Okay. James Casey. Hola. Bill Cross. Greetings from Texas because Bill is from Texas. Jerry Stone says, hello. Fenndango chat sounds exciting. What's this week's subject? Well, it's going to be driven by some of these questions because I got a couple of doozies that ought to, as usual, set off some controversy. So, and then it's up to you, Jerry, because if you want to send a text message, you can send a text message to the number down below as it's scrolling below me, 866-597-9901. Or right now, you can leave a voicemail and we can play your voicemail on the air. And then after we finish the inbound questions that I've gotten already, we'll open up the phone lines, and please feel free to call and chat. I am especially partial to ladies with southern accents. Love talking to them. Let's see. Davio Stone Speaking. Oh, Stone Speaking has been around, man, on my commenting right and left on all my videos, even if they don't have anything to do. Yeah, Fenndango. I made that up. Fenndango is just made up. Let's see. Ignorant Strain and Charles Chapman from the Facebook page. Charles has a Facebook page with his partner. Only those who would brag about it have a chance of finding it, according to Forrest Fenn. Oh, who wouldn't? I think you want to say only those who would not brag about it would have a chance of finding it. He did say that the person who found it would have a hard time keeping it a secret. I think I'm probably making that up. Fenn didn't say that. I just made that up. Ignorant Strength, going back and forth. Glenna Friedman. Oh, don't worry about it, Glenna. We're going to have plenty of time tonight. Heather Dawn. Oh, Heather left a new voicemail. Okay, well, that's good. Treasure Getter is telling everybody good luck in Vegas. I know. I'm probably going to have to get off here and just go to the WTP website and play there for a little while with the other online geeks. Let's see. Gold Dog, that's a new name. @J Street Care to explain the room. What was in the chest that you took your breath away? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be a damn interesting conversation, wouldn't it? Tower Junction Blaze. Man, you managed to work it all in there, didn't you? He's got pocket deuces. Oh, pocket deuces. It depends how many people are at the table. There's only one other person at the table, you hold them. If there's 3 or more people at the table, I'm just giving Daniel Negreanu's advice from his course. If there's 3 or more people at the table, fold pocket deuces. It'll kill you. And apparently you fold Ace King. Jason and I are always having a good time with Ace Kings because Ace King looks like a set of cards that you're set like I just want to, especially if they're suited. Ace King suited. You will never win a hand with Ace King suited. I don't know why. But Jason has a line. Let's see. He calls it Ace King. Anna Kournikova looks good but never wins. So that's what we think about Ace Kings. Let's not talk about. I'm feeling bad at not being in Las Vegas. Jody Krager. No. My name is Fat Boy. Oh, I would not call you that. Well, thank you. Oh, Fat Boy. Jody's husband. Is that Jody, the Jeep girl Jody? Is that how you're related? Gold Dog, Sakar. Hey, Sakar, how are you doing? Towers all in. Oh, you guys are having a hold hand. We should play. Can we play Texas Poker online? No, there's probably something illegal about that. That was an accurate paraphrasing. Zozo rocks. Good luck to all in Las Vegas. Hey, Zozo. Tails, don't look at rivers. Is that treasure hunt advice or something else that I'm missing? Yeah, Tower Junction Blaze has it right. AK is a death trap. Looks good, but never wins. And ace can 7 deuce suited. I don't know. That's a big stretch for a Daniel Negreanu loves suited connectors. He calls them so like a 5-9 of clubs or a 9 jack of clubs. He loves those. He plays those to no end. Forrest Fenn's Treasure Galore. That's right, Charles Chapman. Whose page is that? It's I forget her name. Tell us what her name is that has Forrest Fenn Treasures Galore on Facebook. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Am I missing something there? The softer side. Levi Roberts, new name. I followed the clues and it led me to an unspecified location. Wait, near Wheeler's Peak, New Mexico. Levi Roberts. If you followed the clues, how could it be unspecified? There's some little thing going on there, huh? Okay, Jody, if it's there, I'll have it next week. Signed, Fat Boy. So you're not calling me Fat Boy, huh? Okay. Zozo Rocks is having a good time. Zozo Rocks has happy faces all the time. I like that. So callers up. So we didn't see a lot of the regulars. I didn't get to use my boss jock tonight for folks that came in, but maybe they'll come in later. Michael Hool shows up every once in a while. So shall we read? Let's read the letters first. So these are emails that I received this week. There was actually about 7 of them, but the other 5 were just like, I found the treasure. Don't keep looking. Same old stuff. So this one is from Brian. He doesn't say where he's from. And he says, I started my chase last week. He's got newbie fever. I started my chase last week, and my mind hasn't stopped since. That's good, because once your mind stopped, that's an indication that you're dead. The draw that this poem has. Yes, we have all experienced that. The next thing you will find yourself on the banks of the Rio Chama at the spring runoff, convincing your son to cross the river to go to an island that is filled with rattlesnakes. Everybody does that. Every newbie does that. That's what I did. I like your guys' show. I would love to join the chat sometime and share my thoughts. Hey, so you should be in the room right now, Brian. Is that you? So if you're Brian, who wrote me that email, let us know if you're in the room to say hi. I would love to join the chat sometime and share my thoughts. Maybe some new ideas will help someone figure this out. Anything is possible. My favorite phrase, anything is possible. I mean, we've been at this now for what? Going on 9 years. According to Fenn, 350,000 people looking for the treasure and nothing. Just where do the darn warm waters halt? LOL. Yeah, that's the big one, right? If we knew that, Brian. So this is from Brit Belch with 2 T's. So I don't think it's Brit with like the British, because when they say Brit, they always use 1 T. So this is Brit with 2 T's. Hello, Toby and Shelley. I was curious as to if you have seen the movie The Blaze. No, I haven't seen the movie The Blaze, about the life of Blaze Foley. I know of him. I don't know him. Blaze Foley, so he's going to give a description. Look it up on YouTube, Blaze Foley. He was an interesting character. He had this, he was a guy that had a lot of potential, but couldn't seem to focus on not being an alcoholic. I mean, it was, he what do you call those people that Shelley would know this? The people that that kind of set themselves up for failure, something like that. There's some name for it. They put obstacles in their way and end up failing more often than they succeed. But usually, like he would show up for a concert, and he would show up drunk, and then the people would start booing him because he couldn't sing his songs, and so he'd start yelling at them, right, instead of showing up for the concert that everybody was there to see. So he was that kind of guy. He could have done more. He ended up dying. He was crashing, as we used to say in the old days. He was crashing at a friend's house, and the friend's son and he got into some kind of argument, and the friend's son ended up shooting him with a .22, and the bullet hit his liver, and they tried to save him, but his liver was so screwed up as a result of his alcohol abuse, he died on the operating room table. So that was probably more than you wanted or ever needed to hear about Blaze Foley. It's got a couple of really good songs. If you're one of those guys that can pick up a guitar at a party and start singing soulful country and western songs to impress all the lovely ladies in the room, he does a song called "If I Could Fly," and it is morose, maudlin, but man, when you sing it and you sing it right, people in the room will start crying, especially if they've been drinking. They'll start crying. But look up that song. His name is Blaze Foley, and the song that I remember him doing. As a matter of fact, I went through a period that the Outlaws, David Allan Coe, Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, and who was the other? There was four of them. Maybe one of you guys can remember. And one of those guys did one of his songs, more than one of his songs. Well, let me read the letter, okay? So I was curious if you've seen the movie The Blaze, about the life of Blaze Foley, whose real name was Michael David Fuller. He was born 12/18/49. Oh, we were born the same year. And he died in February of 1989, so he was 40. I'm still alive, thankfully. Which was released in 2018, that being the movie called The Blaze. I, as many Fenn searchers, have given up then while scrolling through the movie. Let me start that over again. I'm going to put the commas in myself. As many Fenn searchers, have given up, then while scrolling through the movies while I was riding to Seattle on American Airlines, I selected this, apparently The Blaze, and I noticed there were many similarities to Fenn. I'd be interested to figure out how you made that connection, because I know Fenn's life pretty well, and I know a little bit about Blaze Foley's life, and I don't see the similarities, other than they're both like characters. The line out of the movie that really caught my attention was in an interview with his former band members after his death, who said Blaze didn't have to look east to see the light. Interesting turn of phrase. There was also a scene where the Blaze was traveling down a creek that one couldn't paddle up, as in TTOTC, page 62. In one of Blaze's songs, Clay Pigeons, that's the name of the song, in one of Blaze's songs, quote, Clay Pigeons, unquote, there was a line about running around looking for answers to questions I already know, and if I could only fly. A pilot talking in circles. So those are two different songs. The If I Could Fly is the song that I was telling you about earlier. The movie ends with Blaze's wife begging to dig by his grave to plant some flowers, and the caretaker tells her that there will be no digging in this graveyard. Parentheses, not a graveyard, close parentheses. Blaze was also a good old boy from Texas. Actually, he was from Georgia. He wanted everybody to believe he was from Texas. If nothing else, I think that this is some interesting food for thought. I'm going to meditate this over another Dewar's. Good taste in scotch. So there's that. Blaze Foley. I'm having a hard time making the connections, but maybe you guys can make some of those connections. So anyway, one of the emails I got. So let's go to the text messages. So yeah, there was some real. So I'm still getting text messages, but let's go back to the ones I got earlier in the week. Hold on just a sec. Okay, this is from Carol. Looks like a man's name because it's 2 R's and 2 L's. Carol in Dustin. Where is Dustin, guys? Dustin. Isn't that? Why do I know that name? Dustin. That sounds like a place in Texas. Is Dustin in Texas? And Carol says, what do you think about K-Pro leaving the search? Yeah, far be it for me to criticize anybody for leaving the search, as that's what I did. So, so Christy is a friend of mine, and Christy has had a far greater struggle. So anytime you're visible in the search, that is, you have a forum, you have a chat room, you have a YouTube channel, especially if you have a YouTube channel, once that visibility, once you get to a certain level of visibility, you're going to get to a level of admiration and derision. And for some of us, the admiration outweighs the derision. For others of us, the amount of derision that we receive causes us to look for other alternatives, because to get beat up all the time simply isn't mentally or even certainly not mentally, emotionally, or physiologically healthy. There's only so much beating up you can take from people who are effectively strangers in your life. And I think it is my humble opinion that Christy was taking a lot more of that abuse than any of the other highly visible people in the search. And we get our share, but in conversations that I would have with Christy, it always surprised me at the amount of abuse, and I'm not talking about physical abuse, but this constant set of anonymous attacks, because that's what they are, because everybody on the internet can be anonymous if they want. She was taking a lot more than anyone should have to. And so there's only so long you can put up with that, no matter how much you love the search, no matter how much you love maintaining a forum, no matter how much you love building a YouTube channel, because almost everything that she was doing, somebody found something wrong with. And I mean, we do a show once a week. I can't tell you the comments that I have to delete. There's still people out there that aren't going to like me any more than they liked her, except that she had a lot more of those people than apparently I have. And she takes a lot more to heart than I do. As you guys know, my rule is I don't engage. You're going to say it once, then I'm going to block you from the channel. So, and I'll never see you again. Isn't that fun? So you asked me how I felt about it. I feel saddened that anyone is run out of the chase effectively, because I don't think anyone deserves to be run out of the chase, no matter how critical the chase can be of you, right? And I think we can all agree that it tends to be more difficult for women, more challenging for women, and it can be even more challenging for women who have had any kind of contact with Fenn. And that's partially their fault, and it's nobody's fault. It's just the nature of the beast, right? And so I think you get to the point where you just ask yourself in your life, is all this metaphysical abuse worth what you're doing? And the answer is no, it's not. Eventually it's not, especially if, like Christy, you have children in your home, and you don't have a spouse there to protect you. And so it's a lot easier when you're Toby Eunice. You have 70 years behind you, and a lot of those years have toughened you up. You can take that, but honestly, it doesn't make me happy to know that, again, somebody's left the chase because they reach that breaking point, the breaking point at which the abuse that you're taking, but spiritual, metaphysical abuse that you're taking, isn't worth doing what you're doing. So she and I will continue to talk. So it's not like I can't say I'm going to miss her, because we talk. And I'm sorry that anyone has to leave the chase for any kind of reason, if the reason happens to be associated with being abused by perfect strangers. I think that sucks, and I don't think it's healthy for anyone. So I've just been doing this longer, so I'll miss her. I'll miss seeing her because she was always happy. She was always smiling. She was always laughing at things that I didn't know how anyone could laugh at because I didn't think they were funny. But I thought it was funny that she thought they were funny. And watching her made me laugh, made me happy. So I'll miss that. And look forward to her return. I'm sure she's having a good time in Las Vegas. I know she was still, of course, still planning because that was her baby, going to Las Vegas. And she's got to deal with the coins and the maps, and she might turn that all over to Mike. I think there's that possibility, of course. But like all of us, it's hard to step away from this in its entirety. And maybe what she needs is just a little bit of R&R, and she'll come back to it. Now, because, you know, once you've been doing this for a while, especially once you get on YouTube and you have so much fun with this stuff, you'll come back. So you Carol, that's the answer to your question. That's how I feel about it. Okay, this one is from Doreen. This is so funny because I think this is the second time in 2 shows that I've mentioned it. So Doreen, maybe it was Doreen the same time, from Shamrock, Oklahoma. And I don't know whether I told you my Shamrock story. I used to, as I made the trip from out east to New Mexico and or back, a couple of times I stopped at hotels in Shamrock, Oklahoma, and both times my truck got broken into. So I don't have pleasant memories of Shamrock, Oklahoma, Doreen. I'm sure it's very, it has a college, I think a Baptist college in it. And for a Baptist college, they sure raise a lot of cane for evangelicals. Let me see if I can put this together. So what is your prediction for Jenny Kyle's 6 questions? That's interesting. So I suppose by prediction you probably mean I guess I have to decide whether you're asking a subjective question or an objective question. The objective question was, could I predict for you the questions that Jenny Kyle is going to ask? That's the objective one. The answer to that is I can't. Jenny has her own style and has her own logic for developing the set of questions that she asks. From a more subjective perspective, there are patterns that you can recognize. So the patterns of the questions that she asked Fenn include the fact that she doesn't ask 6 questions. If I remember correctly, last year's set of 6 questions actually consisted of 20 or 22 different questions, because she packs several questions into one of the numbers. So question number 1 may actually have 3 or 4 questions associated with it. Last year there were 22. So that's the first thing. It's not going to be 6 questions. It's going to be more than 6 questions. So up to as many as, like I said, from last year, 22. The second thing I noticed about the question she asks is, there may be a point at which she decides to change this. About half of the questions she asks can be answered with a simple yes or no. And we've had this conversation before. If you want a detailed response to a question, you start with what, who, where, when, how. And if you really want a lot of detail, you say why. And you can go, but we have videos on how to ask questions. If you ask questions of Forrest Fenn. Her questions, the way that she structures them, about half of them can be answered with yes, no, or I don't know. And if you're doing an interview, what you find out about yes, no, or I don't know is you're letting the person out easily. And Fenn, being the wise man that he is, takes advantage of that. The other thing that asking multiple questions in one number gives Fenn the opportunity to do is in my experience, and as I've looked at this, he chooses one of the several questions in that number, and that's the one he answers. So if you ask him, where's the treasure, how's the fishing, did you really put 22 pounds of gold in the thing, he picks the how's the fishing question to answer. So I predict that there will be some of that. I think he gets very soulful when she tries to ask soulful questions. Although some of them subtly will hopefully get a response that helps in the treasure. I've never seen a response that actually helped in finding the treasure. As a matter of fact, I think given the idea that she gives them to him in advance, he has time to answer them, I think you can be assured that Fenn will not give you a response that's going to get you any closer to the treasure. So That's my prediction. I think the final prediction is that he always seems to throw in a kicker, and that's the one, the response that we take and we run with as, whoa, that's some new information. Was it last year? Was it Jenny's questions last year where he said he had a gut feeling? I think that was, and man, did we run with that, didn't we? There were several of us that were out searching the following weekend, because we knew that was going to. So those are my subjective predictions. I don't have any necessarily. I don't think I know Jenny well enough. I don't know Jenny at all. I know her, by her reputation as a forum owner and as the person, and I think she has a YouTube channel as well. I'm sorry, I say that like I don't know that. She does have a YouTube channel. And that's kind of all I know her as, so I couldn't predict for you what she's going to ask. But generally speaking, I'm comfortable that I can predict subjectively how they're going to be structured, because that's pretty much the pattern, unless she changes her pattern, unless she changes the pattern or he changes the pattern. I don't think either of those will happen. Okay? Wow, thanks for those text messages, huh? So this one is John from Oregon. What if the answer to, quote, what is the one word that is key, unquote, is in the question, meaning a word that is only used once in the book and then applies homophone to it. Fenn gives us an example. A butterfly is really if I remember correct, he says flutterby. Could this be a blueprint, the key that unlocks the clues? I think it's as good an idea as any. I think the problem, John, is where you're, and I can understand why you haven't, because it would give something that you think is useful to you away. I think in order for me to give you a credible answer to that question, literally, I would need more data. It would require a conversation, and maybe some others have considered it. So, if anyone in the room has considered the possibility that, let me read it again. The one word that is key is apparently what he's meaning, a word that is only used once in the book. Oh, I see what he's saying. So his reference is to the one word that is key is the word in the book that is only used one time. The one word. Interesting, especially if it's a homophobe. Is that right? Is that what he said? A homophone. Oh, so he's pointing out that the word flutterby is, to the best of my knowledge, I could be wrong here. I'll check afterwards. Is only used once in the poem, and that's because Fenn used it as a reference point, or in the context of a reference point to butterfly. And I think he was talking about his granddaughter at the time. So it is very possible that one could surmise that flutterby is used only once in the book. So what John is proposing that is the one word that is key, a word in the book that is only used once. That's an interesting concept, but I can't imagine how you would find that out. You'd have to go through the book, look at something that sticks out to you, and then start doing a search of the text, the word document that you happen to have handy. But John, that's a damned interesting thought. Okay, let's see. So this is Amy. I'm not going to play this because it's real short. So this is the transcription. Amy left a voicemail. And in the voicemail, the transcript says, "Hi, this is Amy. I was wondering." No, I better play it. So let me play this. Let me play this out. Is it going to translate?
Hi, this is Amy. I was wanting to know if the treasure had been found. Thank you.
Oh, she sounds a little bit Canadian with that "found" at the end, huh? or maybe upper Midwest, the upper Midwest, Minnesota. They do that, phoned. Amy, there is no credible evidence that the treasure has either been found and or recovered. So if anybody has evidence otherwise, just put it as a comment in the in our chat room, and we'll just follow up on that if you do have evidence. Then she says, I'm interested to learn about starting a channel or learning about joining somehow. So the option that we're providing everybody is to have a program on our channel, AGK Media. And if you, the first step in that process of establishing your own program on our channel while simultaneously streaming to your channel, fill out the form at bit.ly, bit.ly/AGK Media. Fill out that form, click submit, and we will get that. And then we'll contact you, and we can have a talk about it. So, all right, so here's a voicemail. Let's play out the voicemail. It doesn't say, oh, okay.
Wow, thanks for those
Toby,
messages.
please tell us about your Chama search and why you quit searching Chama and where in Chama, Rio, did you search? Thank you. This is Tom K. from Anaheim, California.
All right, that was Tom K. from Anaheim, home of Disneyland. I lived there. I was on a consulting contract, and I lived in Anaheim for a while. So the search on the Rio Chama was my first. It was my first search within a month after having discovered the book. This happened way back in 2013, and what I can tell you about that is I had decided where I thought warm waters halted, and that was the relationship between in New Mexico's game and fish regulations, and there was a point on the Rio Chama before Fenn said it had nothing to do with dams. Warm waters began at the base of the El Vado Dam, the El Vado Reservoir Dam, and so I started there. I went down the river, following what I thought were the other clues: home of brown, great big record brown trout in the Cooper's Ranch store right there. Put in below the home of brown was where all the Chama River rafters would put in. So I went down, and it had some good things about it. But the problem I have is that I didn't believe that Fenn took a river trip to hide the treasure. That doesn't make sense to me. He drove there, and in order to do that, you had to make a roundabout, come from the let me see, is that south instead of coming from the north, going down the river from the north, because you can't do that. There's no trail along the river after the suspension bridge unless you're on the other side of the river, and then you're in Hickory Apache territory. So by the time I was able to accomplish that loop with my son and kind of work out the rest of the clues, I realized that effectively I was over 10 miles downriver from my starting point. And that's where I started realizing that 10 miles is not that distance. So that was our first treasure hunt. I went back, rethought it out. We actually got trapped on one side of a valley that we were in because it thunderstormed all afternoon and all night, and we couldn't get back up the other side of the valley. The mud in that area is red. It turns to red clay, and we couldn't make up the other side. I'm not going to bore you with this. There's a great story about these hunters that came and pulled us out and drug us out of there. Thankfully, they were drunker than a skunk, and long story, but a fun one. So yeah, Rio Chama, I could go on for hours about that first solution. Honestly, here's how I think about it. I've never been back. So, hey Toby, Christian here from San Diego. Does that mean that's your name or that's your religious affiliation? Christian, I guess it's his name. Christian here. Are you watching Jaywalking Libra? It's really interesting solve. apparently I should be watching Jaywalking Libra. So I don't know if that's a YouTube channel, Jaywalking Libra. So I'm not. I didn't even know Jaywalking Libra existed. If that's a YouTube channel. Let me hang on just a sec. Let me look it up real quick. See if what Jaywalking Libra is, because it's let's see. Jaywalking. I don't see it. Doesn't come up. So do me a favor and tell me what Jaywalking Libra is, and I'll come up with an answer for you. All right? All right, let's go back to the room. So I've finished with my emails. I've finished with my text and voicemails. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn on the phone line. And if you call 866-597-9901, I will answer the call. Remember, if you're going to call, a couple of things. Turn off your computer's audio. Otherwise, we'll get that that audio echo, and you won't be able to hear either one of us. And number two, you don't have to yell. And number three, make sure you tell me what your name is and where you're coming from, and we can talk about the Fenn treasure. So, okay. So let me go back to the room, and where did I leave off here? Zozo Rocks, prolific as always. Let's see who else has come into the room. W, Blue Mango, Journeyman, James Casey. We said, oh, we have, so I'm going back too far. Ta-ta. Oh, Jody Krieger. No, my name is, okay. I understand you're not calling me Fat Boy now, but so thank you for that. So Tails had a message, but deleted by ES. Is the ES in the room? I didn't see ES in the room. Hey, ES, if you're here. Eric Schmidt, thank you. So he's covering his moderation duties. Levi Roberts, I followed the clues, and it led me to an unspecified... Oh, we read that. Wheeler's Peak. Tails.
+176090881.
Oh, I forgot to turn down my... Hey, this is Toby Eunice on AGK Media. Who am I talking to?
This is Christian from San Diego.
Oh, Christian from San Diego. Hey, Christian, hang on just a second. Let me do something real quick. What I'm going to have to do is I left my ringer on full blast. And are you there? Christian, are you still there?
I am.
Okay. Somebody else is trying to call in. Don't worry about it right now. So I got to set my ringer. Whoever's trying to call in right now, we're on the line. You're not going to see this because there's a 15, 20-second delay. But feel free to call in after Christian and I finish talking. So, hey, Christian. How's San Diego? Warm and breezy.
Toby, I actually just got back into Carlsbad in San Diego from Mammoth like 2 hours ago.
Oh, really? What were you doing there?
Yeah, I was up in Mammoth. Snowboarding Monday through Friday.
Oh, nice. Snowboarding and then back down to the beauty of the San Diego beaches, huh?
Yeah, a little block from the beach.
Yeah, say California, man. That's why everybody should live in California.
All right. So I love your content. Been watching you guys for a while.
Thank you.
And every day I pretty much just update and say Forrest Fenn treasure and today for YouTube. See what's new. And I've never seen this gal before. And it's actually Libra J Talker.
Okay, hang on. Do me a favor, and when we finish this call, just text me that so I can look it up. So
sure.
Her name is Libra J Talker.
J Talker.
And it is a female.
Today's her first day.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and today's her first day on YouTube. So she basically comes out and says that she has solved the puzzle just like everybody else does.
Well, yeah, that's not unusual.
I watched them backwards on accident. I watched her third video. She did them like one every hour, and she's supposed to reveal the final video tonight. In the next, it might even be there now because she's been doing it in like hour intervals.
Wait,
so
she's competing with my show?
The third video, I guess so.
Huh.
But she seems really sweet. And I watched them backwards. I watched the third video first, and then second, and then first. The first video I liked, but I didn't love because the second and third were so good. But I just wanted to let you know about it because I think you should check it out. If she reveals it tonight, that'd be great. But she's got the most interesting solve I've ever heard. It is far beyond anything out there that I've heard. So it's awesome. I just wanted everybody to know about it.
Quick question. Based on her solution, what state does she believe the treasure is in?
Hasn't gotten there yet.
So we have to.
You have to wait till the end, yes.
So is she live streaming or is she just uploading videos?
Just uploading videos. She said she just wanted to finally come out. She's never really said anything in the Forrest Fenn community, and she just isn't going to find it herself, apparently. She lives in Minnesota, and she wants to give a little good to the world, and she apparently thinks she literally solved it. And it's super interesting.
Do me a favor. I still can't find her. I just did a search for it. Do me a favor and give me send a link to one of her videos to my email,
Sure.
a Gypsy's Kiss at Gmail. And after I finish the show, I'll go take a look at it.
Sounds good. Thanks, Toby.
Thanks for calling, Christian.
Of course.
Have a good evening.
Have a good night.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, give me a moment before somebody calls so I can turn my ringer down because that was nuts. Wow. Sounds, more sounds. Unless it's sounds. Sounds. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, that was, whew. Okay, now we can't hear him at all. Okay, so I've got my audio, my text message from, that's from Christian. So he sent me the address to that. So I'll take a look at it. Maybe we'll talk about it next week in next week's show. All right, here we go. 620.
+1
Oh, that's a new feature that I did not necessarily implement. Good evening. This is Toby Eunice on AGK Media. Who's calling and where are you calling from?
Yes, sir. My name is Fat Boy, and I would have never called you that on the computer. My name is Fat Boy.
Okay.
I am from Central Kansas, and that's all I'm going to tell you.
All
but
right.
If it's still there,
So close enough.
I will have it next week.
Yeah. Oh, the
But
treasure.
I got a feeling the guy that's saying, go ahead.
The treasure. Are you talking about the treasure now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So go ahead. I'm sorry
But
to
I
interrupt. Go ahead and tell me your story.
That's right. I think I got a sneaky feeling that the guy that is on the internet saying he's found it, I almost think that he is telling the truth because I recognize his voice.
Oh, really?
But if it's still there, I guarantee you I'll have it. I know exactly where it's at, right down to the square foot.
So is it, can you tell me what state it's in? Meaning, I don't mean what state, what condition.
I'm really not.
All right. Well,
it's north.
It's north. Well, of course, that's what Fenn said. It was north of Santa Fe, right? So is it in,
Yep.
is it above 5,000 feet? If we assume that
It is.
Fenn told us that it's below 10,200 feet, you do know that if you're
I'll tell you this much.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay?
Go ahead.
It's between 5,000 feet and 10,200 feet.
Mm-hmm.
That means if you get to 10,200 feet, turn around and go back. You've gone too far.
Right. Yeah. That's good advice. So wait a minute. So you do know that a lot of the mountainous area in the 4 treasure states above 5,000 feet are still covered with snow,
Mm-hmm.
right? Are you assuming?
Sure.
Are you considering the fact that you're going to have to trek through some pretty hefty snow mass?
Probably.
What do you mean, probably? Do they have snow in Kansas? Does it snow in Kansas? I don't know.
Oh, it does. Yeah, we got snow right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
But
So,
I'm almost positive I can get in there and get it.
all right. Well, I'll tell you what. If you and you're planning to go next week.
Yes.
Okay. So here's the deal.
Early next week.
All right. So here's the deal. Do you have a laptop computer?
I do.
And do you have a laptop computer that has a camera on it?
Hang on a second.
It'll be around the top of the frame there, just a little tiny hole in the top of the frame. The glass.
No, it does not.
Oh, dang nabbit. Well, we can do it for you. So here's...
I was asking my wife.
Yeah, here's my deal for you. When you go out next week and you recover the treasure, I'm going to be on the air on the YouTube air at 7 o'clock next Friday night. Okay? I have your phone number right in front of me. So if you call me, I will make sure that you're the first person on the program so that you can announce that you have recovered the treasure, and the rest of us won't have to spend any time over the next rest of our lives looking for it.
Okay. On this 9901?
Yeah, this is the 800 number, 866-597-9901. Call me, and we'll get you on,
Gotcha.
and we'll be able to share it with, let's see, who do we have in the chat room? Right now, we are at about 110 viewers in the chat room, and if you can come and you can take a photo with your phone, text it to me, I can put it on here, and we can all rest far more easily. You would have, you know what?
Very good.
You recover that treasure and you announce it next week like this with a photograph. We got to have evidence because it's not enough for you to say.
Oh, yes.
It's not enough for you to say, I got the treasure. Got to give us some evidence when we do that.
Okay.
Here's what I can assure you. There are people whose lives are going to get better from that point on, and people whose lives are going to get worse from that point on. In my case, I'm one of those people that I'm at the stage where I think to myself, geez, just somebody find this frickin' thing so we can, go on with the rest of our lives. So there's a bunch of us, when you make that announcement and you send that evidence, we can just go on with the rest of our lives. So that's how I'm looking forward to the opportunity.
There you go.
All right?
All right. If it's not there, I will call anyways, and I will tell you what my solve is.
Meaning it's not
exactly where it's at.
It's not there because we've heard this before. So if you call me and say
Sure.
it's not there because somebody beat me to it, we've heard that one before, right?
Right.
But if you say it's not there
I have
because my solution sucked, we'll accept that. That's a perfectly reasonable, because I've said that 32 times, right? 32 times I've had to come back and said it wasn't there because my solution sucked, and I'll make him prove it. So that's a perfectly acceptable response. Calling and saying it's not there because, the guy that you're talking about beat you to it, that's not an acceptable. That's not an acceptable response.
That's not going to work.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
All right.
All right, sir.
Well, Shelley, I said hi.
You can.
Thank you, Toby.
She's in the chat room. Talk to her. She's a good person. She's under the softer side.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for calling. And
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I thought you were calling me fat boy.
Sir, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
All right. All right, sir. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
All right. Got that straightened out. So Christian sent me the link to that. Dang nabbit, but it's on my phone, so I can't. Okay. Phone lines are open. Call in. Let's talk about it. If you know where the treasure is and you can beat Fat Boy to the treasure, tell me so that we can schedule everybody next week with their side of the story, right? Why is Tails giving us... is that Tails coming back at that? Let's see who else is in the room. Okay, so if you have a question that you'd like me to answer, I can't see it in the chat room. Oh, wait, you can use Super Chat. Click on that Super Chat button, highlight your question, and you add to the extension of our project. Tails was timed out. ES, I know you're doing a good job with this guy, but maybe it's time just to toss him out. Let's see who else is in the room that I didn't recognize. Mosaic Mind. Hey, great name, Mosaic Mind. Charles Chapman, did you tell everybody who what? Oh, you did. Your Facebook page. Jerry Stone. I love the newbies. Love their enthusiasm and innocence. I remember being enthusiastic and innocent at one time in my life. But then my mother had to change my diaper. That was the last time I was enthusiastic. still thinks he buried it. Deborah Pine. Is that P-Y-N-E, Pine? Am I pronouncing that correctly, Deborah? That's a new name. Mark Peterson. Hey, hey, what's up? The answer is actually in the poem itself. It's not in the location. I think the answer is 1. Oh, Adam Foddy, our friend from the UK, up late tonight. Good news about Trump reopening the government. Yes, that would be, my guess is that the Congress, after the Senate failed twice, both Republicans and Democrats decided this wasn't a battle they wanted to fight anymore. So I'm sure they went to President Trump and suggested that it was in their best interest to open the government. And it's not the government. It was, I also don't want to exaggerate the size of the problem. There were just one department of the government that hadn't been funded. All the rest had, which is kind of silly. Nobody's ever won. We started doing this during I think it was during, when's the first time we shut down the government? During the second Bush administration. Nobody benefits. The people don't benefit. It discourages government employees. It discourages anyone from considering working service, providing service in the government. It costs them money. It costs local economies money. So if you're in Huntsville, Alabama, and you're a community of basically government contractors working for NASA, and you miss a whole month or more pay, that means grocery stores, everybody is affected in that community, and worse, it affects the national economy. And so there's no benefit. There is nothing in which.
+12143547051.
We probably should figure out how to turn that off, because we don't want everybody knowing who's calling. We just want me knowing. Hey, this is Toby Eunice on AGK Media. Who's calling, and where are you calling from?
This is JW from Texas.
JW from Texas. Wow. Okay, you know what? I'm going to accept that you're absolutely telling the truth about that, because honestly, you sound like a JW from Texas. So.
Well, you guessed pretty close.
Is your last name Marriott by any chance? JW Marriott?
No.
Oh, dang
I wish
it
was.
I wished it was too. So, what do you have to tell us tonight, JW?
Well, I've got a solution that I figured out quite a long time ago that I've kept to myself about the home of Brown.
Oh, interesting.
Because I've kept up. Yeah, I've kept up with everything on the internet just to see if anyone ever come up with the to me the obvious solution, and they haven't. So I thought I'd throw this out there to maybe help everybody on their thinking.
You know what? I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to see if I can keep you on a little longer, just so I can listen to you talk. So before we share with everyone else, let's. So the fun part in all this is let's keep everybody in suspense, JW, for just a little while.
Okay.
So first of all, how many times have you gone out yourself looking for the treasure?
I have been out 4 times.
And if you don't mind sharing, in what states have you looked for the treasure?
Colorado only.
Only Colorado. There's a lot of people that when they hook into Colorado, they stay with Colorado. So what made you decide? So how far are you along that line where you say, you know what, I'm not going to find it. I'd rather share it someplace. So have you actually decided?
Oh, no.
No. Okay. So you still think there's a possibility that you might go out and find it sometime?
Oh, absolutely. I'm just waiting for the spring.
The spring runoff. Yeah. Because Colorado
so get in there for the 5th.
Yeah, Colorado gets pretty messy all the way up and through the end of April. So if you're still looking for the treasure, why would you want to share your ideas on the home of Brown?
Because the correct answer, the home of Brown, is only part of the solution. That's the only thing that I'm going to give.
It's only one of the supposed 9 clues, right? So you don't feel like you're giving away anything.
Correct.
You still have to. So put in there's still 6 more clues that you have to figure out.
You have to decipher each clue correctly before you'll ever find it.
Yeah.
And that is very true. And like I said, the only one I intend to give, because apparently it doesn't seem anybody has figured it out, is what the Homer Brown is.
Oh, great. Well, I had my thoughts on it, but I haven't figured it out. So your accent sounds like a little bit Central Texas-ish. What part of Texas are you from?
Well, I was a West Texas boy, born in Cottonville.
Cottonville.
I rode the tail end of a cotton sack when I was a baby as my mother pulled cotton.
She pulled cotton. Well, how good is that? And what did you do as a living while you were growing up? After you were growing up?
I became a master electrician.
Mm-hmm. And are you retired now? You sound like you might be retired.
Yes, I'm retired. I retired in '02.
Wow. So you've had a long time to get used to this whole retirement thing, huh?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I hope I never work again.
You know, that's exactly how I feel about it. Although, I don't know. I like keeping busy. Sounds like you like keeping busy.
Oh, I do that.
Yeah.
I do that all the time.
Mm-hmm. So are you still living in Texas?
I'm still living in Texas.
Bless your heart.
I guess I always will. Only reason I don't live in the mountains is there's no riding the horses and from November to April. So
right.
And I'm a horseman, so I choose to live in the South where I can ride year round.
Well, you know what? I could have almost guessed that you were a horseman. All right. I think we've kept everybody on the edge of their seats long enough. JW, why don't you tell us what your thoughts are on the Homer Brown?
All right, I will do that. I want to start it in Fenn's book where he makes reference of sliding down a pole and leaving a brown streak in the seat of his pants.
That's right. From the rust on the...
remember that in the book.
Right, from the rust on the handrail.
He showed in 5 different places in the book, he uses the word brown, and it's used as a color. Brown bag, brown gravy, brown streak at the seat of his pants, the brown end of a loaf of bread for his mother. So brown is a color, and then he's if you study it close enough, you realize that brown is a color.
Right.
Okay, now if brown is a color, what could possibly be the Homer Brown?
Well, you know what?
I'm fixing to tell you.
All right. Okay.
You know what? I'm still laughing. When I finally come to what the Homer Brown is. The Homer Brown is a toilet.
A toilet.
That is every time you take a crap. That is the Homer Brown.
And so I suppose the obvious question at this point, does the solution that you are pursuing in Colorado include that type of Homer Brown?
Put in below the Homer Brown. There are many outdoor toilets all over Colorado.
You mean the outhouse style of outdoor toilet? Is that correct?
Yes. They're everywhere. I'm not referring to the toilet as a brown color. I'm referring to what
its contents.
Brown.
Its contents. Well,
that is constant. The Homer Brown.
Early on in the search, there was a. I don't want to say there was a trend towards this particular definition of the Homer Brown, but it was active enough in consideration that there were people actually digging up outhouses in order to determine if that was the location of the treasure. And at some point early on in the search, I'm going to say around the 2012 time period, Fenn had to actually say, and some people took this as a clue, is he had to say, stop digging up outhouses, because apparently people were digging up outhouses.
Because it is not. Yes, it's not in an outhouse or any of the deposit there.
Right.
It is merely you put in below the Homer Brown.
Right. And so when you see the word below, you're not talking. You don't see digging under the outhouse. You see below as a direction along a river. So if you go below stream, something like that, or down the side of a mountain. So when you see below, you don't see it as underneath the outhouse. Is that correct?
That is correct. Every outhouse I've seen in Colorado is usually located anywhere from 20, 40 foot above any flood stream that could possibly get to it.
Oh, interesting.
And if you put in the river, well, there'll be no paddle up your creek. You put him below the Homer Brown, there'll be no paddle up your creek. He's telling you exactly you got to put him below the outhouse and cross a river.
Yeah, well, yeah, we feel like there's a river crossing involved as well. So you said you've been out 4 times. The 4 times that you've been out, how many of those times have been to exactly the same, not exactly, but near the same location?
I put in the same location, but each place I've looked has been, let's say it's been in a, let's say a 2-mile diameter.
Yeah.
But I put in at the same location. I put in below the Homer Brown and cross the stream that there's no paddling up it, because it is, who knows, 40 foot below the Homer Brown.
So would you care to share what, in your opinion, is the distance between the first clue and the last clue, or the first clue and the blaze?
What would be the distance between the first clue and the blaze?
Right. Yeah. So how far from the point that you start that you arrive at the first clue, how far do you think you'd have to walk to recover the treasure from that point? If you don't feel like that's giving away too much information.
I think that was the only thing when I called I intended to give you is that.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Brown.
That's fair. So I do have one.
I will.
Go ahead.
I will say one thing.
What's that?
Begin where warm water's halt is not the first clue.
Oh. You mean in your opinion, begin at where warm water's halt is not the first clue?
If you will keep this first clue to yourself.
How can you and I right now are live with a chat room containing 131 people. So no, I can't keep it to myself. You know what you can do? Once you get up, are you calling me on a cell phone?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so once we get off, you can text me your opinion of what the first clue is.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and give it to you because everybody seems so far off.
Now, you sure you want to?
If you will look on page 80.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, if you look on page 81 of his book, and you will find right at the top of page 81 the same words that he uses at the start of in the first stanza of his poem, and in that paragraph, describing the place that is sacred to it, special to him.
So page 81, top of page 81.
If you look at top page 81, there's 2 words.
Okay. Well, I can't.
And if you will look at the start of his poem, you will find those same 2 words, but they're not put together. That's why everybody overlooks it.
Oh, I see. So it's not an easy one to discover.
Not right. That is correct. The words are separated by, let's see, the first word is in the first line, and the other word, I believe, is in the third line.
Of the first stanza of the poem.
Of the first stanza, but if you'll read on page 81, the words are together, and then you will see that it's telling you what this special place is.
Well, okay, so, all right, that's fair. Thank you for that, and I will look as soon as we're done here. But I have a couple of questions for you. You ready?
Okay.
So if the Homer Brown is what you describe it to be, what you expressed as your opinion in the matter, why is the word brown capitalized? You don't need to capitalize it if it's just a color.
Fenn uses as many ways as he can to misdirect you and still give you the directions how to. In other words, in his book, I can't remember the exact quote, but he said that let's see, you must know what is not worth knowing.
Mm-hmm. So
he gives you a lot of information that is not worth knowing.
So the implication of what you're saying is that the capitalization of the word brown is a bit of misdirection on Fenn's part? Is that what you're suggesting?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. All right, so I have a second question for you before we have to give somebody else a chance to talk here. But honestly, JW, I could end up talking to you all night, but just because I want to listen to that accent. But so the other question is, in the New Zealand radio interview back in 2013, Fenn very clearly stated that the first clue was begin at where warm waters halt. I mean, he stated that as a fact. So if it's not a fact, then again, was Fenn misdirecting us, or have you interpreted that in a completely different way?
Always tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But don't always tell all the truth.
All right.
If you will study real closely, he does not ever say begin where warm waters halt is the first clue in the poem. He does not say it's the first clue in the poem.
Well, he doesn't say it's the first. I don't think he says it's the first clue in the poem. He simply says it's the first
correct.
Clue. It's the first clue. So you think there's something to it where he doesn't qualify it as being the first clue in the poem?
I tell you what, you go read page 81.
Okay. All right.
And that paragraph that precedes those two words.
All right.
And see if that don't answer your question.
All right. I promise I will. As soon as the show is over, I'll do that. Because I kept the second copy of my book. I gave the first copy of my book with all my notes into my son, Jason. All right, JW. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for calling tonight. And I look forward to additional conversations in other times on other topics. I appreciate you taking the time. And I envy the fact that you may find yourself riding a horse sometime this week, because I'd like to find myself there too.
Oh. I'll tell you what. You got my number.
I do indeed.
Call me sometime.
And we'll go horseback riding?
Well, we might take a trip this summer.
I look forward to the opportunity, sir.
All right.
You have a good evening.
Yeah, same to you.
Thank you. That was fun. JW from Texas. I am getting a clipping sound every time I speak in a boisterous manner. I got to get rid of that. Let me bring it down just a little bit, but I don't want you guys to lose me either. I keep peeking on this, and considering the equipment that I have here, I shouldn't be peeking. So, all right, some interesting theories on JW's behalf. I know a lot of people have gone through some of those theories. It sounds like he's thought about it a little bit more, to the extent that he's made 4 trips to Colorado to see if he can find that treasure. Phone lines are open if you want to call and talk for a little bit. We got about another half hour to go before we sign off for tonight. Let me see. Hello, Internet. Ooh, I don't think I can do this. Hello, Internet. This is Leroy. I just want to say all y'all Sauls are cattywampus, but y'all is a good people. I think Leroy does that much better than I do. Thanks for joining us tonight, Leroy. We really enjoy your programming, and we look forward to the next one, because they're always fun. For those of you who don't know who Leroy is, look him up, Leroy, and you can search Leroy with 2 E's, Leroy, and Fenn, and you'll come up with his programming. It's pretty neat. Very well done, by the way. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so this is a series of text messages from the same person. I don't have a name. So 208, I'm about to read your commentary. So send me your name and your location so I know who you are. So this reads, Toby, I think I have found the visual reference to the clues where the location in Colorado, the finding the blaze, leads to another reference to architecture. The location is historically and geologically and structurally located close to one of the best fishing areas in the country. It is where warm waters halt and is over 1,000 feet from the blaze. The clue is the color of a refractory color on Google Earth, hidden in a previous location Forrest Fenn gave of his house in Temple, Texas, 1 block off the cemetery, the roof of his garage, or where his house has a front door that has an arched front door. Wow, that's a lot of information to try and get into one text message. But 208, you did. So 208, area code 208, do me a favor and text me your name and your location. I don't know where 208 is, so I'd take a guess at it. But phone lines are open for about another, let's say, 20 minutes because I want to close up. And for those of you, if you're going to see this and you're in Las Vegas, I hope that somebody had a great night winning that poker tournament. I know the buy-in was $60, and I was trying to remember if she said there were 60 people coming, so that's $3,600 winnings, plus Christy had planned all kinds of other prizes. Is Leroy in the chat room? There's Janet. So Janet Landgard. So raise your hand in the chat room if when JW said that there was a clue at the top of page 81, you all ran and got your thrill of the chase and looked at the top of page 81. Because I would have, just for the heck of it, huh? So let's see who else is in the room. ES, did we take care of our one nuisance there? ES was doing a good job. Let's see. That, you know what, Charlie? He was kind of one of those rednecks from Texas that Fenn's talking about. You had to respect that. Let's see. Redneck Express is in the room. Hey, The Adventures of Leroy. So all you have to do is click on that, and you can go see. Homer Brown is constant. Ooh-yee. So yeah, go to The Adventures of Leroy so you can see the programming that he's put up there. It's really funny. And he's been doing it, I guess, for about a year now. Ask him why it's capitalized, Toby. Yeah, Mosaic Mind, I had to do that. Why is it capitalized? We know they use Charmin. Let's see. Adventures of Leroy's in the room. Tower Junction Blaze. I think I've already said hi to Ron Johnson. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, Ron Johnson, they do wear kind of a brown. It's more like a khaki brown. It's not exactly brown. But Ron Johnson is the senator from where? One of the Midwestern states. But apparently he was the guy that in the Senate Republican luncheon yesterday, he got into a bit of a verbal tiff with Senator McConnell, saying that he claimed, he accused, I don't want to say accused, maybe that's a too strong a word, McConnell of getting the Senate Republicans to the point where they were experiencing this kind of stress. So Senator Ron Johnson, that's why it sounds, I'm sure you're not the senator from the Midwestern state. Yeah, Sledneck, he does sound like a fun guy, Sounds like the aged Marlboro man. That's what I was thinking about when he was talking. Sounds like just one of those guys, huh? Let's see. Toby won't tell anyone. Yeah, so that's the hard part with everybody sharing a secret with me on the phone line, in which there are over 100 people in the chat room. So, yeah, you don't want to share because I'm a big mouth. As a matter of fact, here's the thing. If you send me an email with information like that and you don't tell me that I can't share it, then I'm going to share it because I like everybody to know everything. Let me see. Jeff Collins, we said hi to. So Rocks. Huli. Hi, Huli. I didn't see you. I'm sorry, I didn't see you earlier. I don't think. Let's see. Where's the softer side? I don't see the softer side. Shelly Carney, are you still in the room? So I talked to John Wayne Bobbitt earlier in the week because I was thinking about going to the poker tournament in Las Vegas, and Jungle Cruise. Hey, dude. Mark Peterson, new name. And I was actually going to stay over at his house during the tournament rather than get a hotel, but it didn't work out. What was really funny is he said, "Yeah, we'll get together. We'll go to the tournament. What day are you coming in?" And I said I was coming in on Friday, and he said, "Oh," and then he remembered he was going to be in New York. So that kind of came tumbling down. So they were doing, Charlie, the World Series of Fenn is tomorrow, but they were doing a practice tournament tonight. Mike Cowlizars was going to sponsor a practice tournament for some of the people. Apparently, some of the people that were going to the tournament had never played Texas Hold'em, had played poker, much less Texas Hold'em. If you ever want to play, if you ever want to learn how to play Texas Hold'em, sign on to, there's several free Poker Stars, WSOP. There's several sites online that you can get on, and they give you a fake, it's not fake money, they give you a certain amount of money, and you can play with that money. But it gives you a good sense of the tempo of the game and how the cards play out, things like that. So if you want to read a book, I strongly recommend Daniel Negreanu's book. He's the guy, he's very, there are books, any of the poker stars have written books, and they're all that thick. And most of them are about poker theory. Daniel wrote a book about that thick, and it's much easier. It's a much easier read. Actually, I didn't even read it. It was an Audible. I got it as an Audible book, so all I had to do was listen to it. But that's how I got all my poker expertise. Not that it's made me any money, but Gold Dog, AGK80, Toby Wan, should we all be looking for outdoor bath facilities in our search locations? I never tell anybody what they should be looking for in order to determine what the clues are, their versions of the clues are as they decipher the clues. I can say for you, I have not considered that definition of the Homer Brown in my solution, but I don't have the treasure either. So JW finds a treasure, and that's his solution. More power to him. Okay. Oops, I got a couple of texts. Let's shut off the call announcer so my number is not spoken out loud on the live broadcast. Yeah, that's 208. I know you're that is a new feature. I have never heard anybody, we've never had that problem before. It's kind of a problem because I don't want anybody to hear the phone numbers. So just you know what? I'm going to turn off calls. Okay, no, I'm not going to turn off calls. What I noticed tonight that's never happened before, and I don't know whether it's in the app. Hang on a second. Let me check real quick, see if it's something in the app. Serve greeting, cards, block numbers. So the fact that either the app or my iPhone is announcing the number beforehand is something new to me this evening. That's never happened before, and I'm not happy about it either. So I don't blame anybody for not calling. I'll have it fixed by next week. But if you look at our other shows, we've never had a situation where Jane Fancy Pants was announcing the number of the caller. That was, I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know whether it's coming from the app or from the iPhone. So I know it didn't happen 2 weeks ago, which is the last time we had the show. So something happened in between. I got a firmware or a software update here that didn't have it. So if you don't want to call because you're worried about your phone number being announced to the world, then just send me a text and I'll read the text. And as you know, I won't read your phone number when I read the text. So 208, if I knew how to shut off the call announcer, I would. But I don't know. Like I said, that's a new feature that arrived tonight. I hadn't seen it before. Brad Kinser. Hey, Ron Johnson's. Oh, Ron, we said that before. What is Ron saying? Fenn must be a good poker player with all his ability to bluff, something his father never knew the meaning of. I wonder. I've never heard Fenn, other than that one stretch in the one thing in the book. I've never heard him talk about gambling of any kind, much less poker. Charles Chapman, poker face, huh? Are you a Lady Gaga fan like me? Mosaic, I love the calls too. And again, I'll have it figured out by next week to make sure that nobody's number is announced when they're calling. That doesn't make any sense considering that we have millions of subscribers and hundreds of millions of views. It'll go all over the world, of course. So, JW, what's your... there we go. Oh, there's ES. Hey, ES, thank you for moderating tonight. Thank you for taking care of that one problem issue. I was at the stage where if you hadn't taken care of it, you actually did it in a much nicer way than I would have. I was about ready to toss them out. Okay, here we have. If you know the first clue is home of Brown, is it any easier to understand? I don't know that that either I or JW agree that the first clue is the home of Brown. I thought there was another one. Okay, so I've seen Fenn's comments about the 7th Cavalry and Custer. What do you think about Bighorn Mountain? Well, so I'll be honest with you, we don't think the treasure is any place outside New Mexico. That's the first thing. But if I remember correctly, there was someone else that was trying that Bighorn Mountain kind of solve, and the altitudes don't work out. If again, I'm not sure, but I thought there was a problem with the altitudes, that you couldn't get high enough up there. Little Colorado pun there. I'm with you, Ron. I too believe that when Fenn said the first clue is begin at where warm water salt, he was pretty clear about that, and it was pretty clear. I'm interested to I may give JW a call and talk to him about why the question we really need to ask JW is, why do you think that's not the first clue, considering he said it? And JW made it a point to say that Fenn did not say that it's the first clue in the poem. So what does that mean? So I got to have that conversation. Ouch, my ears are... I got to have that conversation with JW, so I will. I'll give him a call. I have his number here. I'm going to go horseback riding with him. Haven't done that in a while. Let's see. Okay, so I'm not getting any text messages, and we've made everybody afraid to call tonight. That didn't go well. So, but I will fix that. I'll fix it so that whatever feature that has been added to either iOS or the Smart Call app doesn't announce your number. So, Brown kids are go to settings, scroll down to phone, go to announce calls, and select never. That will fix your phone. Okay, I'm going to do that. So give me a second here. So go to settings, iOS settings, scroll down to phone, go to announce calls, and select never. So I didn't. What's weird, of course, Brad, is that I didn't change that. Okay, so I'm going to settings and go down to, what did you say? Phone? Whoa, I lost it. Where'd it go? Go down to phone, go to announce calls. Okay, phone. And oh, damn. Announce calls, headphones, and car. Never. Jeez. So I swear to you guys, I did not change that setting. I don't have any reason for it to change that setting. Must have been one of my grandchildren while I was in Washington. Got into my iPhone and started making changes. Okay, so restricted. So somebody's calling it restricted. We don't answer restricted calls. Okay, I can't do that. So call back on your regular number. And now, by the way, so according to Brad, your number will not be announced when you call me. So if you do want to make a call, 208. If you want to make a call, this would be the time to do it. Let me get back to my call service. So yeah, 208. You can now call, and your phone number will not be announced. iOS feature. A, didn't even know the feature was there, and B, had never changed it, didn't have no desire to do that. It's kind of weird because it's never announced before. I was in the car most of the afternoon today, had several calls, and it didn't announce then. So I don't know what happened. Okay, so there is that. You can still text the 866 number, 866-597-9901. You will see it scrolling below here. And if you are interested in producing content for this channel, your own content, your own topic, your own branding, your own intros and outros, become an expert at live streaming before you move to your channel, go and fill out the form at bit.ly. I'm sorry, let me say that again. bit.ly/AGK Media. Fill out the form. Should take you a couple of minutes. I actually made a video on.
Hey Toby, it's Diggers Down, the Comic Chef. I'm Neil from Australia. I just wanted to call and have a chat, mate. I had some thoughts on the treasure hunt in the poem, more specifically. Anyway, mate, watching your show as we speak, it's great stuff. Thank you for sharing. You're a legend.
Out Australia, whatever he's calling from, Australia. Okay, Neil, call me again because I have your number now, and I promise not to hang up on you. So, yeah, call and we'll answer that. In the meantime, there was another text message. Okay. Did you address my question about the Bighorn Mountains? Yes. I just did address that question about the Bighorn Mountains. So 409, I did that. It's James in Texas. Is that James, J.W. James in Texas? Or is that a different James, J.W. in Texas? Here we go. So this should... What? It hung up on me. It's going to go to voicemail again. Neil, I'm going to ask you one again. I'm sorry, I didn't know what happened there. But please call back. Don't let this deter us from having a call from Australia, if that's where you're from, or you just brought your Australian accent to the United States. So yeah, call and let's talk about this. We're having fun with it tonight. And let me see if my audio is up. There we go. Okay, here we go. Let's try this. Audio. Neil.
G'day, Toby.
Hey, brother.
Hey, yeah, mate.
So,
all the way from Australia.
Are you actually calling from Australia?
Yeah, from Victoria, Australia, about 10,000 miles.
Victoria, Australia. The only place I've ever been to in Australia is Sydney. I went there for an R&R once.
It's
when
about
I was
560 kilometres from there.
Oh, my God.
You
Yeah.
worked there.
There is no place in Australia that's close to any place else.
Very true.
So what
interest
Amazing. What interest does an Aussie have in the Fenn treasure?
Oh, I love treasure hunting just like the rest of us, my
Mm-hmm.
friend. And so, yes, I've looked at it a lot and researched it as we do, and I have a few theories myself. One I put earlier in the doesn't matter, but what I thought was the poem itself, I don't believe that they're all necessarily clues. They're actually places. And if you decipher each one of the 9 clues into places, that fills in the spots between the dots.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one is where your treasure will lay. And so if you miss any of the places, you'll miss the direction to find the place, which is where the blaze lays.
I get a sense I agree with you that you have to have them all in the correct order, because if you're off track at any one point in time, and each clue increases the possibility of missing, by a factor of something. I calculated the factor once, and it was like, 340,000 different in the 9 clues. So, how many times have you been to the U.S. to look for the treasure?
I haven't. I've been probably feels like 1,000 times doing searches.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a long way to go to have a hunch.
Mm-hmm.
And but I believe very wholesalely in your thoughts too, that because I believe the map is taken by canoe, but to find it, you would obviously take a car, as Forrest did when he set the treasure.
Mm-hmm.
He rented a plane, he got a plane, and then he rented a car. And this is one of the things that, like he talked about in the bookshop, he wanted that person killed that talked about that question, did he have a rental car?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
that, to me, in itself, is the clue that you're exactly right, that he rented a car. He didn't want anybody to look at the records around the time when, back in the time when he put it there, so they could find out where the car and that came from.
Well, I don't know whether you saw...
Everything we talked about, I believe, is spot on. I'm sorry, Toby?
No, you go ahead.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, so I believe, you rented a car and to try and throw everybody off, and he hasn't been back because he's too old to fly anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And these books, Too Far to Walk, that's a pretty major clue. And the picture of the shadow over the water, is on the Madison River.
On the Madison.
That's at his favourite fishing hole.
So that would mean that the flight was to the flight you imply. So our theory was based on the fact that we believed he actually hid the treasure in 2003, and that he flew to, although he was flying to Cody, he stopped off in Lander. And so
that's correct. So it's Little Lander.
Yeah. So we had a theory that was very similar to the one that you're proposing. So do you also believe that he hid the treasure in 2003 versus 2010?
Yes, 2003. Yes.
Oh, amazing! Wow.
And he just can't go back. He just can't go back because he's too old to fly.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Well, he stopped flying at the end of 2000 or in 2003. Of course, sold the aircraft, and he also gave up pursuing. He didn't do his medical for his pilot's license in 2003. So he did go up flying. Now he has flown since, because Shiloh, of course, has his pilot's license, and I know that Fenn has been in private general aviation aircraft with Shiloh. So what are the chances that you're going to find yourself at any time in the future in America looking for Fenn's treasure?
Oh, I'd love to. Otherwise, I'll do a video on my thoughts, and if someone else find it, maybe they'll keep me a coin.
Well, so if you decide to do a video, do you have your own YouTube channel now?
Yes, I do, yes.
Oh, okay.
Diggers Down Under, yep.
All right. Well, maybe when you put the video up, when you decide to do it, put the video up, share the link with us, and I'll make sure I announce it on one of our programs so other folks can go take a look at it.
You're awesome, Toby. That's what I hope they do. I hope they go out, they all have a fantastic adventure and find the treasure.
Well, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to go back down to Australia, and I want to go looking for, because apparently there are places where you still can. I want to go back and look for some Australian fire opals. Do you know where those are?
Oh, yeah, that's easy to find, my friend.
Are they really?
They're certainly there.
So how hard is it to get...
fire opals, boulder opals.
Really?
Black opals.
Well, I mean, I've seen the stories on them, and they always make it look like it's really, really easy. And then I think to myself, everybody it makes it look like the Fenn treasure is easy. But if I went to Australia, could you take me out to find some fire opals?
I'm sure they could be arranged.
Yeah, I'd be happy to pay for.
It's just really hot here, my friend. It's very hot.
No, really, I'm serious about this. I've always wanted to find my own fire opal and have it processed and have it, turned into a true gem, because I have a person I want to give that fire opal to.
Yeah.
And
that certainly can be done.
Okay. I'm getting to be an old man. I don't have a lot of
raw
years
opals
left,
Raw opals are a lot easier to find.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
Oh, well, I'll just take your advice when it comes to those matters. If I can leave Australia legally with an opal, an opal that I dug out of the ground, I would just be that would be I could die after that. I'd be happy. I could okay. That's all I need to do. Well, I'll tell you what, Neil. If you ever find yourself in the U.S., whether you're searching for the treasure or not, let us know. We'll get together for some cocktails or a bit of... Australians don't drink tea, do they? They're not tea drinkers.
Actually, I do drink tea. I do drink tea.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got a little place here in Albuquerque. It's a tea house, a very nice tea house. It's not a feminine tea house, but they serve some of the finest teas. So we'll have to go there should you ever find yourself in the area.
Fantastic.
And then we'll take you over to Fenn, so you can sit down there and chat with Fenn. He'd like hearing your stories.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be fantastic. So, would you like to talk about any of the clues I might put?
Yeah, well, if you're willing to share them. So let me ask some questions first.
Like the
all right?
Brown.
Yeah, let's do some basics first. In what state do you believe the treasure was hidden? Montana. And what do you believe is the distance in? Well, we can do it in kilometers, I guess. The distance between the first clue and the last clue.
It's approximately 10 miles, 22 kilometers.
Wow, that's a big distance. All right, so what's the first clue in the poem? What's the first clue?
I think it goes in chronological order from start to finish.
All right, so I think that's a new take on it. Tell how I don't want to push this too far because I only want you to share what you want to share. So
that's fine.
Why don't you pick up on that thought and tell us what you think about how they lie in chronological order?
So in that respect, from start to finish, the first one is from where the warm water cease. And so that would be, for me, West Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm. And what is it about West Yellowstone?
And then we work our way.
What is it about West Yellowstone that causes the warm waters to halt?
It's below Yellowstone Park from where the water starts.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Okay. That's fair. That's a good one.
And these are all part of his most favourite places to fish. Very fond and special places.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, not far from Grayling Stream, the Little Popo. And of course, the Madison at the Madison there, just near Yellowstone, West Yellowstone, is one of his favourite fishing holes.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, we head to the canyon down.
And can you
down for me.
Would you be willing to share your canyon down?
My canyon down is Bear Trap Canyon.
Yeah, you know what? I liked that as a Montana solution.
Yeah. So let's just go through it. I think it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean it's there, but it's a very cool scenario.
Well, even if the treasure...
We follow the canyon down.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we follow the canyon down and we go to... Sorry, I'm getting a slight bit of reverb.
I'm not getting it on my end. I'm fine on my end. Let me turn yours down just a little bit.
So,
see if that helps any.
Below the home of Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, you're right, mate. Below the home of Brown is, I believe, is where the brown bears stop moving. And that's where you turn in.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Google Earth, you can see the whole forest area on Bear Trap Canyon. And so we turn right at the base of that to turn in, because the bears aren't moving any further because that's all farmland now. And this is a place not for the meek.
Relating to the bears.
You've got to hike up the gully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, correct. You hike up the gully. No place for the meek. And when we get to the top, you will see the blaze. When looking through the mountain peaks, you can see straight ahead of you is Blaze Mountain. And when you look down, if you're wise, you will see a carving in the ground it is white, and it's a picture of an owl.
Wow. That is
And
pretty comprehensive.
And that will be where you will find it.
It's interesting, your perspective on the blaze. So the blaze at the point that you're standing and you're looking between the mountains and seeing Blaze Mountain in the distance, it's off by a significant distance at that point, right? You're not 100 feet away from the blaze. You're miles away from the blaze.
That could be more of just a suggestion that you're in the general area.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I just think I hadn't heard that. To me and others, whenever they were on the blaze, they were effectively, on top of the treasure, and there was some diametric relationship between the blaze and the treasure. So what you're suggesting is that you could see the blaze off in the distance, but if you look down, you would see the indication of where the treasure is. I hadn't heard that.
Which is most likely the true blaze.
Yeah. No. I understand. I just hadn't heard that possibility before. So it's an interesting take on it, Neil. Hadn't heard that before.
Yes.
So
the picture of the owl carved in the ground.
Yeah. So
it's his head, the wise owl. It's about 100 meters in the area.
Okay. So the weather up there is going to be stable around mid-May, mid to late May. So that would be a perfect time for you to come, and we'll just meet you up there, and we'll get the treasure.
Fantastic.
All right, Neil. Thank you for this. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. No, okay. And the other part just in that as well is there's no paddle uphill creek, just the lows of water high. And that's because there's no water in the gully that walks up to where the wise owl's face is. And the water that is the snow or glaciers that are on the mountains.
Well,
which is loads of water high.
I think that's a damned interesting perspective on it, Neil, and I think you really should take a shot at it. I don't know how much is a trip. I haven't been to it. So the only time I've been to Australia, the military paid for it. So I don't know what it costs to fly back and forth to Australia.
Yeah, it costs a couple of $1,000.
Oh, does it really? Well, the offer stands. As a matter of fact, if you ever find your way here and you decide to go to Montana and you know when you're going to be there, and I'm going to strongly recommend it's in the latter half of May, at least, then let me know and I will meet you there because I think that's a hell of a trip.
Yes, quite an adventure, Toby.
And then we can make plans for me flying to Australia so that we can look for opals.
Find some opals, awesome.
I want an opal. It is the one, ever since I saw that one program, it's the one dream that still remains, the one bucket item the one item on my bucket list that I still haven't accomplished. So.
You're well and truly find your fire opal, Toby.
Yeah. I would love a fire opal, but I'll take any Australian opal, even a black one. I wasn't a big fan of the black ones.
But heaps of opals and black ones.
Yeah. Well, maybe we could get one of each.
Well, the black ones can be quite expensive.
We're going to dig them. We're not going to buy them. We're going to find them ourselves.
No. We'll find them all right.
Oh, okay, all right. That's all I'm looking for. Belva Jenkins is in the house. She's got
the adventure, mate. As we know.
Yeah, no, that's if you can't find Fenn's treasure, we might as well go looking for treasures. I'm using what's his name, Man Alone. His theory is if you can't, you can either spend your time looking for Fenn's treasure, or you can take your metal detector and go look for stuff that you can actually find. So I'm at the let's go get the opals in Australia stage. Yeah. So. All right, Neil. I'm about to end my show here. And you'll need to call me back sometime when we're on so that we can talk some more.
Okay, Toby. Pleasure, my friend.
You have a good evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for talking.
My pleasure. Well, dang nabbit, that was fun talking to Neil from Australia. My night would be complete if if we got a call from Michael in Japan and from... got one more call here. Let me see. Okay, I may have to keep this short because we're over our time, but let's see what we got here. So, hey, this is Toby on AGK Media. Who's calling and where are you calling from? Oops. Oh, panicked them. It's hard when you finally get on. You go like, it's that damn Toby. All right, guys. Let me turn off the phone so we don't get interrupted again. That is done. So, enough for tonight. Couple of things. Thank you for those of you that made donations to my GoFundMe campaign for Pootie and his beautiful spouse, Rolene. And don't forget, if you want your own show, just like this one, on this channel, fill out the form at bit.ly/AGK Media so that we can see what you've got and you can have the same amount of fun that I'm having, all right? To those of you that are in Las Vegas, good luck at the poker tournament. Hope you have fun. Stay out of trouble because, man, it's easy to get in trouble in Las Vegas, I know. I used to get in trouble in Las Vegas all the time. Shelley Carney on the softer side. Thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for the great job of moderating and being your usual wonderful and gentle self. I know I appreciate it. I'm sure the other people in the room do too. In the meantime, if you have questions for next week's show, text them to 866-597-9901. You can also call that number and leave a voicemail of up to 2 minutes, and I'll play it on next week's show. I'm sure that we'll receive questions over the week, so you can also send an email. If you don't want me to read it on the show, tell me that you don't want me to read it on the show, because unless you tell me otherwise, I consider this public information. Let's hope that this government shutdown is truly done, and that Congress is finally getting a handle on what it's supposed to do in the context of the Constitution, and we can continue to move this country forward, because we've been moving backward here just a little bit. And you know, I'm not a fan of Comrade Vladimir Putin, so he's not our friend. Okay. So it's kind of fun to have people calling in and sharing their solutions with us, huh? That's never, I don't know, I don't remember that happening before. That's pretty good. You know, Mosaic, I tried to take the call, but when I answered, they hung up. We have some people that get stage fright when I actually say who's calling and where you're calling from. Okay, let's see. I am going to spend tomorrow at the flea market just for the fun of it, and then we'll work on the week. I should remind you that we are going to do our renewed panel session. We're going to be doing a panel session on the night of February 6th. It is a Wednesday. It'll be 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And the topic for that night is the 6 questions, because they will have been released, ideally, in the earlier part of the day. So we're going to take them and start talking about those 6 questions, okay? All right, guys, thanks for joining me tonight. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know that you have a lot of choices when it comes to YouTube channels, and I really appreciate you coming here on Friday nights and joining me in this conversation. I find it a lot of fun, and I hope you find it at least a lot of fun, maybe even entertaining and informative, because I don't mind sharing my opinions with you. Okay? So that's all I got to say. Maybe I'll do a little outro here. Oh, yeah. Pink flamenco. Okay, so this is Toby Eunice with AGK Media. Bringing you smooth jazz. Oh no, that's my college. Never mind. Bringing you Fenn treasure stuff and having a good time and having an open phone line with people from Australia. For God's sakes, how much fun is that? So. Until next week, we'll see you next Friday, 7 p.m. Again, if you're interested in having your own program, remember bit.ly/AGK Media.